Welcome to Dharma Wisdom Talks. Today, we're exploring the profound concept of stillness, a state that transcends mere calmness to become a pillar of clarity and enlightenment. In Buddhism and philosophy, stillness is not just about silence, but about cultivating a mind that remains unshaken, allowing us to see reality with clarity and compassion. Join us as we journey through how stillness can transform our inner world, deepen our self-awareness, and connect us to a path of spiritual and intellectual growth. Stillness is a profound concept with many layers of meaning. Both Buddhism and philosophy emphasize stillness as a necessary state for achieving enlightenment and a deep understanding of oneself and the world around us. In Buddhism, stillness is understood as an inner state that remains undisturbed, unaffected by external factors or internal thoughts and emotions. When the mind attains true stillness, a person can perceive reality with clarity and completeness. The concept of stillness in Buddhism is closely related to meditation, samādhi, a state in which the practitioner focuses their mind in pursuit of enlightenment. Stillness in meditation. In the practice of meditation, the goal is to achieve a state of inner calm. This process helps to reduce distractions and disturbing thoughts, bringing about a peaceful and awakened state of mind. Stillness in other Buddhist concepts. Stillness also appears in teachings on selflessness, compassion, and liberation. When the mind is at peace, practitioners can access profound truths and practice compassion for all beings naturally and without discrimination. In philosophy, especially within Eastern schools of thought, stillness is highlighted as an ideal state for wisdom and self-awareness. Some Western philosophies also touch upon this idea, though interpretations may differ. Stillness and self-awareness. In many philosophical schools, a quiet mind is considered a prerequisite for deeply understanding the nature of reality and the self. Ancient Greek philosophy, such as the teachings of Plato, asserts that stillness and concentration are pathways to accessing higher forms of beauty, goodness, and truth. Stillness in Eastern philosophy. In Daoist philosophy, particularly in the teachings of Laozi and Zhuangzi, Wu Wei, non-action, and stillness are seen as methods for achieving harmony with the Tao, the Way. By keeping the mind calm and free from greed, anger, and ignorance, one can perceive the truth and exist in the most natural way. Is there a connection between stillness in Buddhism and philosophy? Although the manifestations of stillness may differ, both Buddhism and philosophy emphasize that the stillness of the soul is essential for overcoming suffering and attaining a deep understanding of oneself. Stillness is not merely a temporary state, but an ongoing process of transformation, keeping the self from being swayed and creating the foundation for spiritual and intellectual growth. A story illustrating the power of stillness. Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the most renowned Zen masters of the modern era, has brought mindfulness and meditation to millions worldwide. In one of his teachings, he recounted a story about practicing walking meditation with a group of monks and nuns during the chaos of the Vietnam War. Amid the sounds of bombs and gunfire, instead of panicking, he instructed everyone to maintain gentle steps, breathe deeply, and center their minds. This stillness, amidst turmoil, exemplifies the ability to remain unshaken by any circumstance. Through this story, we understand that stillness is not merely external silence, but the strength to hold one's inner peace in any situation. When the mind is still, nothing can shake us. Stillness is an inner strength that allows us to see reality clearly and face challenges without fear. Whether viewed through the lens of Buddhism or philosophy, stillness is an essential state that helps individuals escape the disturbances of the external world and their own inner turmoil. It is not simply remaining motionless, but a conscious stillness that leads people toward enlightenment, harmony, and the profound truths of life. Patience is not passive endurance, but a process of strengthening the mind, cultivating compassion, and gaining control over one's emotions. In both Buddhism and philosophy, the practice of patience is a path for self-development, letting go of anger and desire, and gaining deep insight into oneself and the world. In Buddhism, patience, Ren, is one of the 6 perfections, paramita, one of 6 practices that lead to enlightenment and liberation. Patience in Buddhism can be understood as forbearance, endurance, or the ability to remain calm in any situation, whether facing suffering or enduring life's trials. Forbearance, khanti. This is one of the important virtues taught by the Buddha. Forbearance is not merely about enduring hardship, but about overcoming difficulties without being controlled by anger, hatred, or negative emotions. When faced with adversity, those who practice patience respond with calm and compassion rather than reacting impulsively. Practicing patience for enlightenment. On the path of spiritual cultivation, Buddhism emphasizes patience as a means to not only confront external hardships, but also to control internal turmoil. For example, when confronted with criticism, maintaining a calm and peaceful mind without anger is a demonstration of patience. For practitioners, patience is not just about enduring, but transforming suffering into inner strength. In philosophy, patience is often viewed as a necessary virtue for confronting life's challenges and cultivating self-discipline for mental and intellectual growth. Patience and self-discipline. In many Eastern philosophies, particularly Confucianism, patience is emphasized as a virtue that helps individuals overcome challenges, restrain themselves in the face of temptation, and avoid reacting with negative emotions. Confucius highlighted self-restraint, the ability to control oneself and exercise patience to maintain moral integrity. Practicing patience not only helps resist temptation, but also maintains honesty and integrity with oneself and society. Western philosophy. While Western philosophy may not have a term exactly equivalent to patience as in Buddhism and Eastern philosophy, many Western thinkers also emphasize it as a crucial virtue. For instance, the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus, a Stoic, taught that humans must endure and overcome difficulties with patience and courage. Stoicism encourages acceptance of what cannot be changed and control over one's emotions to face life's challenges. Connection between patience in Buddhism and philosophy. Both Buddhism and philosophy view patience as a means of developing inner strength and overcoming life's challenges, though their perspectives may differ. Buddhism emphasizes patience as a path to self-transformation and enlightenment by letting go of anger and accepting everything with compassion and understanding. Philosophy, especially Eastern thought like Confucianism, sees patience as a way to maintain moral conduct and personal integrity in a rule-bound society. In Western philosophy, patience may be expressed as self-control and resilience in difficult situations, as seen in Stoic teachings. A story about Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara and the power of patience. The Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara, known for infinite compassion and patience in responding to the suffering of all beings, is a symbol of patience. According to legend, whenever beings call upon him in pain, even from a state of bliss, he does not hesitate to transform himself to help. In one instance, while manifesting in a realm of great suffering, he endured immense pain but never let anger or hatred sway him. He practiced forbearance, listened compassionately, and found ways to help all beings in distress. Patience is not passive acceptance, but the transformation of suffering into compassionate strength. Practicing patience means maintaining a calm and peaceful heart amid pain and resolving it through compassion. Restraint. Restraint, in both Buddhism and philosophy, holds profound significance, helping individuals to master their emotions and ego, to live more harmoniously, calmly, and with greater understanding. Restraint is not mere passive endurance. It is a demonstration of wisdom and strength, bringing inner peace and fostering societal harmony. In Buddhism, restraint is a practice related to controlling and subduing desires, negative emotions, and the ego. Here, restraint is more than simple endurance. It's about mastering oneself, reducing karmic obstacles, and moving closer to enlightenment. Restraint to control. Emotions. In everyday life, people often encounter situations that trigger anger, greed, or resentment. Practicing restraint means not letting these emotions dictate actions or words, but instead exercising control and self-discipline. For instance, when insulted, rather than responding with anger, a practitioner chooses restraint to nurture compassion and maintain calmness. Restraint as a way to transform karma. From a Buddhist perspective, encountering unfavorable circumstances or facing insults provides an opportunity to practice forbearance and reduce karmic burdens. Restraint is not weakness or surrender. It is a manifestation of inner wisdom and strength, enabling practitioners to achieve a state of tranquility, unaffected by external conditions. In philosophy, restraint is often understood as the ability to regulate or adjust one's actions and reactions to external influences. It is an expression of self-control and the ability to master oneself for personal growth and maintaining societal harmony. Restraint in Eastern philosophy. In Confucianism, restraint is considered a vital virtue for upholding moral values and social order. It is not merely enduring, but also self-control in the face of wrongful actions or temptations. A person who practices restraint knows how to yield and avoid conflict, maintaining harmony with those around them. Confucius advocated for restraint and yielding as signs of noble character, promoting peaceful coexistence. Restraint in Western philosophy. In Stoic philosophy, restraint is associated with controlling emotions and actions in undesirable situations. Philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of mastering oneself and not reacting impulsively to external stimuli. Instead, restraint is demonstrated through calmness, reflection, and rational action rather than emotional reaction. This practice leads to true freedom and independence from external circumstances and negative emotions. Connection between restraint in Buddhism and philosophy, self-control, and right action. Both Buddhism and philosophy emphasize that restraint is a sign of inner strength and self-mastery. Restraint does not imply weakness. It reflects wisdom and self-control. When people can restrain themselves from anger, greed, or negative impulses, they demonstrate mastery over themselves, becoming stronger as a result, promoting harmony and avoiding conflict. In Buddhism, restraint nurtures compassion and reduces karmic burdens. In philosophy, it plays a role in maintaining harmony within social and familial relationships. Restraint allows people to live in unity and avoid conflicts that can harm both themselves and their communities. A story about the Buddha and a defamer, the art of restraint. On one occasion, the Buddha was insulted and slandered by an outsider in front of many disciples. Instead of reacting angrily or retaliating, the Buddha maintained patience and silence. When the defamer paused, the Buddha calmly asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The defamer replied, "To the giver." The Buddha then said, "I do not accept your words, so they remain yours." With calmness and composure, the Buddha transformed hostility into an opportunity to practice compassion and restraint. Restraint is not about weakness or unconditional endurance. It is the ability to control and master one's emotions, preventing oneself from being drawn into cycles of anger and resentment. Detachment. Detachment, from the perspectives of Buddhism and philosophy, represents a psychological state of release from desires, intense emotions, or external pressures. It is a path that leads to inner peace, freedom, and the ability to remain calm and clear-headed in any situation. Detachment does not imply indifference or apathy, but rather a mature, spiritual state, enabling individuals to live authentically and remain unaffected by the transient aspects of the world. In Buddhism, the concept of detachment relates to a mental state where one releases attachment to desires, cravings, or strong emotions. It does not carry a negative connotation, but signifies transformation, reducing the intensity of clinging to the external world and inner emotions. Buddhist detachment involves letting go and freeing oneself from worldly entanglements, leading to a state of tranquility and purity of mind. Detachment and letting go of desire. According to Buddhism, desire and craving, known as tanha, are the root causes of suffering. When a person becomes detached from desires, it means their mind is no longer disturbed by unnecessary ambitions or needs. This helps them live more peacefully and lightly. Detachment, in this sense, is a mental state achieved through the practice of letting go and mindfulness. Detachment in relation to impermanence. Life is constantly changing, and all phenomena are subject to impermanence. Buddhism emphasizes that once we understand impermanence, we should cultivate a detached attitude toward things that are not inherently part of our true nature, such as fleeting honors or superficial achievements. Detachment here does not mean a lack of care, but a balanced attitude, free from being swept away by the ups and downs of life. In philosophy, detachment can be understood as reducing intensity, enthusiasm, or strong emotional reactions to things. Philosophical detachment is a psychological state that reflects freedom from excessive cravings and a pursuit of tranquility without being attached to external factors. Detachment and serenity. In Eastern philosophy, particularly Daoism, the state of detachment is often encouraged as a path to peace and harmony with nature. Detachment here is about not clinging to success or failure and not becoming overly attached to joy or sorrow. Daoist teachings see the practice of maintaining a detached attitude toward worldly affairs as a way to live in harmony with the Tao, the Way, and remain unaffected by external influences. Detachment in Western philosophy. In Stoicism, detachment can be seen as maintaining calm in the face of life's events. Stoics believe in not becoming overly elated by joy or excessively burdened by sorrow. Instead, they cultivate a detached attitude toward life's fluctuations, focusing only on what is within their control and accepting what cannot be changed. The connection between detachment in Buddhism and philosophy, freedom from desires and afflictions. Both Buddhism and philosophy view detachment as a necessary state for freeing oneself from attachments, desires, or negative emotions. When the mind is detached from unwanted elements, one can achieve peace, freedom and independence. Balance and non-attachment. Detachment is also seen as a way to maintain balance in life. In Buddhism, it is about letting go to reach inner purity. In philosophy, it is a way to live harmoniously, peacefully, and without overemphasizing temporary events or achievements. The story of King Milinda and Nagasena, the state of detachment. King Milinda, a renowned ruler known for his wisdom and intellect, once questioned the monk Nagasena about the concept of selflessness. In part of their dialogue, Nagasena explained that everything in life is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever. Emotions, desires, and cravings are all transient. When King Milinda realized this, he understood that detachment, or letting go, is the only way to free oneself from the chains of desire and craving. Lesson: detachment is not indifference or neglect, but a state of releasing attachments and not allowing oneself to be controlled by temporary desires or life's entanglements. From these perspectives, we can draw a conclusion that the connection between stillness, patience, restraint, and detachment in mastering one's emotion can be understood as a process of inner cultivation aimed at controlling and transforming emotions, helping individuals achieve peace and self-mastery in any circumstance. Each concept holds a distinct role, and together they create a cycle of spiritual and intellectual development, enabling people to live harmoniously with themselves and the world around them. Stillness, the foundation of emotional control. Stillness is the initial and essential state for beginning to master emotions. When the mind is still, individuals can clearly observe what happens within themselves without being swayed or influenced. This calmness allows us to recognize emotions such as anger, sadness, or anxiety objectively, without letting them dictate our actions. Connection with patience, restraint, and detachment. With a foundation of stillness, we can more easily practice patience and restraint. Stillness creates the space to recognize emotions and prevent them from escalating uncontrollably. Patience, perseverance, and endurance to overcome challenges. Patience is the ability to endure and persevere through difficulties, insults, challenges, or injustice without allowing negative emotions to rise and dictate behavior. Forbearance is not simply refraining from impulsive reactions, but also transforming the inner self to maintain compassion and calmness. Connection with stillness, restraint, and detachment. Patience is the next step after achieving a state of stillness. When we practice patience, we do not let emotions lead to loss of control, but instead maintain inner peace. Patience nurtures endurance and serves as a bridge for effectively practicing restraint. Restraint, moderation and control of actions. Restraint is a more practical step in controlling emotions. This is where individuals moderate their reactions, preventing emotions such as anger or desire from overpowering reason. Restraint is not only about outward control, but also involves managing inner thoughts and actions to prevent them from causing harm to oneself or others. Connection with stillness, patience, and detachment. Restraint requires a foundation of stillness and the training of patience. Without stillness and endurance, restraint can become forced and prone to sudden outbursts when given the chance. However, when restraint is deeply practiced, it leads to sustainable emotional control and transitions to a state of detachment. Detachment, letting go and reducing attachments. Detachment is the final stage in mastering emotions, where emotions no longer have a strong impact on oneself. Detachment here does not imply indifference, but signifies letting go, ensuring that emotions do not control or disturb oneself. When one is detached from intense desires and emotions, they achieve freedom and are no longer deeply affected by external influences. Connection with stillness, patience, and restraint. Detachment is the result of practicing stillness, patience, and restraint. When we have achieved stillness, persevered through challenges, and exercised restraint over our emotions, a state of detachment naturally arises. This is when we are no longer drawn in by negative emotions or external temptations, allowing us to achieve balance and harmony within. Zen Master Huineng, the sixth patriarch of Chinese Zen Buddhism, once lived as a poor, uneducated man. However, through sincere dedication and the practice of patience, he gradually attained enlightenment. He realized that the path to enlightenment not only requires stillness of the mind, but also demands patience to endure suffering, restraint to control oneself, and detachment from worldly impermanence. Throughout his spiritual journey, Huineng left behind timeless teachings, encouraging all beings to cultivate these four states to achieve liberation. Stillness is the foundation of peace and awareness. Patience is the perseverance to endure without being overtaken by negative emotions. Restraint is the moderation of reactions, preserving calmness and morality. Detachment is the letting go of emotions, preventing them from taking control. The connection between these four concepts forms a cycle of inner growth, helping individuals master their emotions, live peacefully, and remain unbound by worldly affairs. By practicing these states well, we can maintain inner peace and live serenely amidst life's changes and challenges. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of stillness in Buddhism and philosophy. As we've seen, true stillness isn't just a temporary pause. It's an ongoing journey of transformation, a gateway to clarity and compassion in any circumstance. By practicing this state of mind, we can rise above life's disturbances and embrace a deeper sense of peace and understanding. Remember to reflect, breathe, and find your own inner stillness each day. Until next time, stay mindful and keep seeking wisdom.